Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Alhamdulillahi alladhi bi ni'matihi tatimmu as-salihat. والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم اقترب للناس حسابهم وهم في غفلة معرضون وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام نعمتان مغبون فيهما كثير من الناس الصحة والفراغ أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. All praises for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has blessed us with this glorious month of Ramadan, which is nearing its end. These are the blessed nights, blessed moments within which we can attain new heights and reach those places where we may never have reached before, where the sakina of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends, sitting within the masjid, where the angels are rubbing shoulders with us. So this is the environment to be. The message or the talk, first and foremost, is for myself, because whenever a speaker speaks, when the sound comes out of the mouth, the first sound goes to the ear of the speaker. So it's for me and first and foremost. But secondly also, وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, that we need to remind each other, because reminding each other benefits the believers. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with a valuable commodity. If we were to look at what is the most valuable thing that we have, if we were to ask or do a little poll and survey, we may get some weird answers, but the main answer you'll get is time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with time, and the time that we've got is limited. اقترب للناس حسابهم وهم في غفلة معرضون, that the account and the day of Qiyamah is approaching and is getting nearer and nearer. وهم في غفلة معرضون, but the people are in negligence, they are in ghafla, they are not aware, they are distracted by whatever else is happening. There was a time when Ramadan used to come. I remember when I was younger, many years ago, that when Ramadan used to come, within our homes, the TV used to get covered, or in some cases, it used to get picked up and put away in the cellar or a basement, so that there were no distractions during this beautiful and blessed month. So the whole month would be in ibadah, would be in worship, would be in focusing and concentrating on pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So by the time the month of Ramadan ended, we are amongst those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven, because this is the aim of each and every one of us. But now today the distractions are huge, and one of the most greatest distraction is this. Each and every one of us owns this, no matter what age it is. So there was a time for a while when youngsters or young boys, young children didn't have it. Now for birthday gifts, what do you want, son, child? I will want a mobile phone, and I don't want any cheap one. I want the latest iPhone, or I want the latest Samsung. Elders, mashallah, they didn't know how to use it, but now, alhamdulillah, through a little bit of training from the grandsons, now they are familiar with the mobile phone. One of the problems that we have in every masjid is namaz is going on, Quran is being recited, and the phone is ringing and bending. There's musical tones going left, right, center. The imam is continuously reminding, please switch off your mobile phones. As he turns to and does takbiratul ula, a phone rings. Because we have got these phones and we are very hesitant in switching them off, or maybe just we might miss something very important. But when you go back 20, 30 years ago, even 25 years ago, there was no mobile phone. They used to have these big bricks and you had to carry them with you. And before that, if you go, there used to be a phone that was carried, that was attached to a wire. It was an analog phone. And then you would have to wait for a message. You would have to wait, but then life continued, everything continued as normal. However, as the development of the digital era has come in, we've got this device now, and we are being so distracted by this device, each and every one of us, it gets lost in it. In a very simple nutshell, how much time do we spend on this? And you know how you can find out? Every device has it's called how long did you spend on the phone? And if you check that phone, it will say 7 to 8 hours. Wallahi, 7 to 8 hours are spent on the phone. This is your average person. The research shows a common person today in 2025, 2024 is spending 7 to 8 hours. And what is he or she doing? So it's not a he issue, it's also a she issue. So now what's happening is there is browsing. The biggest dilemma is just browsing on what? It's Facebook, it's TikTok, it's Snapchat, it's Instagram. And there's then the issue of then just continuously. So you start after Isha, you just sit in there. Maybe you might start off and begin with the Tilawatul Quran. So you listen to Sheikh Mahir Muhayqili, or you listen to Sheikh Abdul Rahman Sudais, or whoever, now mashallah, that you prefer from the reciters. And then slowly the next clip will be something else. And then you might go to a nasheed. The nasheed will be okay as well. And then without you realizing, that next one will have a nasheed with music in it. And then before you realize it, the next one will be something that will be a musical, but maybe still some Islamic concept to it. Before you know it, by the end of the hour, by the end of an hour and a half, you are then browsing something that is completely sinful and that you shouldn't be browsing and watching. Why? Because you have been led that way, and that is what the nafs wants. Shaitan is locked up. Shaitan is locked up. It's our biggest enemy is nafs. So a lot of people ask that question, oh, why do we still commit sins in Ramadan? Oh, the shaitan is locked up. If shaitan is locked up, why are we still doing what we are doing? So we are missing our salah. We are not reciting the Quran. We are doing those things that we were doing before Ramadan. Why? Because the human being is a creature of habit, and it will do what it wants to do, what it was doing before Ramadan. And to change him, it's going to take time. It's not going to happen straight away. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, اِقْتَرَبَ لِلنَّاسِ حِسَابُهُمْ وَهُمْ فِي غَفْلَةٍ مُعْرِضُونَ. And then on the day of judgment, we will be standing in front of our Lord, يَوْمَ يَقُومُ النَّاسُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ, having to explain how we spent this time. What did we do with the time that we had? This valuable time that we have today, life of 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. Life can end at any time. There was a 21-year-old in my hometown of Warsaw, was killed on the street, 21-year-old, killed on the street for some innocuous matter. He didn't know that he was going to die, but life can end. And we've seen here, with announcements are made every week, every other week, someone 30-year-old, someone 40-year-old, he had cancer. Life can end at any time. And the reason that we are in this world is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fulfill the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and spend this time in the best way possible, so that on the day of judgment, when we are standing before our Lord, we can say we spent that time properly. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes the oath of time that the human being is at a loss, except for who? Those who believe and those who do good deeds. Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi said, if no other surah was revealed and only this surah was revealed, it would be sufficient for mankind. This surah. Why? Because the most valuable thing is time. If a person can make do with his time and do what he's supposed to do, which is إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and do good deeds, he will be successful. And Imam Hassan Basri rahmatullah alayhi used to say that the human being is 3 days. 3 days. One day is Maldi, what has gone past. What has happened is too late now. You can't go back to them. You can't get into a time machine and go back and see you can change what it's done. Then the second is mustaqbil. Mustaqbil is the future. We don't know what the future holds. We don't know whether we're going to reach that future or not. What matters and is right in front of you is the hal and the present. And this is the time that we need to utilize and make the most of. And Prophet ﷺ has mentioned in a hadith that اغتنم خمسا قبل خمس, that gain benefit from 5 things before you don't have them, before you lose them. And they're quite very famous, alhamdulillah, mentioned many times. Shababaka qabla haramik. Allah Ta'ala has given you, youth, take advantage of it before you get old. You got strength now, you got time now. When you get old, you get, you get illnesses, you get, you're restricted by your back problems, you're restricted with weakness, as that automatically comes in with old age. صحتك قبل سقمك. Your health, if you've got health now, before you get unwell. Everybody knows when there is health that you can do certain things that you can't do when you are unwell. Ask those people who are in the Reading Hospital, Berkshire Hospital? Yeah, Berkshire Hospital. Ask them, when they were well, what were they doing with their time? Today they're unwell. Maybe they want to do good with their time now, but they can't do it. So that's why take benefit of the health when you've got it. غِنَاكَ قَبْلَ فَقْرِكَ. If Allah has blessed you with mal and wealth, then take advantage of it before you become poor. وَفَرَاغَكَ قَبْلَ شُغْلِكَ. Your free time before you get occupied. There are people who are free now, but they don't know what to do with their time. What they do is, oh, we want to kill time. What, you want to kill time? Really? Because you got nothing to do, you are so bored. There are so many things to do. فَرَاغَكَ قَبْلَ شُغْلِكَ. So for example, there is a person now who was free, but he didn't do anything. But now he's saying that, look, oh brother, I'm so busy now, I can't do anything. Why? Because my wife or my child is ill. My wife has got cancer, and I'm spending my whole time looking after the children. I'm so busy, I can't do anything. Allah Ta'ala had given him time, but now he's occupied, he can't do anything. So take advantage of that free time once we have it. And hayataka qabla mamatik, Allah Ta'ala has given us this life, it's only once, and before your death, take advantage of it. Because once we go from here, we can't come back. In the Quran, Allah Ta'ala mentions, not in one place, in numerous occasions, the human being will want to come back. He'll say, oh Allah, إِذَا جَاءَ أَحَدَهُمُ الْمَوْتُ قَالَ رَبِّ ارْجِعُونَ. Oh Allah, send me back, give me one more chance. Let me go back into the world. رَبَّنَا أَبْصَرْنَا وَسَمِعْنَا. When he will see the life of the hereafter, and when he will be actually listening and seeing everything, he will say, فَارْجِعْنَا. Send us back, send me back. Why لَعَلِّي أَعْمَلُ صَالِحًا. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to spend every second in your worship. I'm going to spend every moment in fulfilling your commandments. I'm going to spend every second in your obedience. But Allah is going to say, كَلَّا إِنَّهَا كَلِمَةٌ هُوَ قَائِلُهَا. No chance. These are words that you are just saying. وَلَوْ رُدُّوا لَعَادُوا لِمَا نُهُوا عَنْهُ وَإِنَّهُ لَكَاذِبُونَ. That if we were to send you back, you would still do the same thing, because that's your nature, that's the way you've become. You're asking for a chance, but you're not going to get a chance. So the time is now to do what we need to do. So the scientific research, which is the main topic, is there's a neuroscience behind the adaptation of the mobile phone and gadgets. So every human being within his body, and within his brain, has a reward and a pleasure system. It's called dopamine. Okay? Now, in the olden days, the people used to exercise, they used to go out to work, and when they used to get the results of the exercise and of the work, that's why after you exercise, you get this feeling of, it's endorphins, but there's also an attachment of dopamine to it. And similarly, when a person goes to work, he used to attain something, he used to earn something, he used to come back. So what they decided in the early years of 2000 when Facebook came out, and this is Sean Parker himself, he was one of the former presidents of Facebook. He said one of the things that we started to do is to try to reach that area of the brain where we could basically make the child or the person addictive to whatever he was using. They use the same concept in gaming. So have you seen our children, how addicted they are to gaming? Whether it's Fortnite, whether it's a FIFA, or whether it's any other game, Call of Duty, everything else can happen. Yawm al-Qiyamah can come, but they won't leave the pad because their game has to finish before they move. And this is the addictive nature of this. So what they decided to do is, they decided to put certain elements within that. So one of them was Facebook and Instagram, they've all got likes, Snapchat. So when you get a like, you know what happens? There's a dopamine rush. You want the next like, because you put a comment on there. You maybe put something even good on there. But now that somebody's liked, you want a next like. You want a comment. What comment? Oh, mashallah, you're doing really good. So then the whole concentration and focus is on the device. And now he's waiting for the next one, and the phone is open and alive, and he's waiting for the next one, and he's spending his whole time, and he's putting on new articles, and he's not realizing that the time is being wasted. And then what happens is that he's not then able to show patience and keep himself away from the phone or the gadget. So in the 1960s and 1970s, there was a research done. And this research was called the marshmallow theory by a guy called Michel Gardner. So what he did, do you know what marshmallows are? Marshmallows are those sweets, they're spongy sweets that children have. They're really nice. You do get halal ones as well, but a lot of them have gelatin in them. So basically what he done is he got a room. It's the 70s now, CCTVs have just come into existence, cameras have just come into existence. So he put children in a room, and he put them in a room, and he put a plate of marshmallows in front of them. And the test was to see whether this child is going to eat from this plate or not. So and what was the catch? The catch was, look, if you don't eat from here, you will get another plate. Okay, can this child, actually it was a child, can this child show restraint and patience, or does he want instant gratification, or does he want instant reward? So children are children, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old children. So he put them in the room, and one by one he put them in the room, and what happened was, there was one group of children who instantly, straight away, picked up the marshmallow, because they can't wait. Children, sweet, samne hai, they're going to take it straight away. Another group, they didn't know the camera was there, so they thought, you know what we're going to do? Just take a little bite, so that you couldn't see signs of it. They were tasting it, they were enjoying it, but in a deceptive kind of way. So, but they were still not taking it, but they were doing it in a kind of, in a tricky way, where they were just tasting it and putting it back. And then there was a third group. And this third group was the group that was not touching them at all. And within that group, there were two groups. Within this good group of those who weren't touching it, one group was basically turning the other way. So no, I don't want to even look at them, because they're tempting. I want to eat them. So I'm turning the other way. Why? Out of sight, out of mind, so that I'm not tempted by it. And the other ones who were even stronger, they're right in front of them. They're saying, look, I'm not going to touch it. And one of the reasons was that the reward will be double. What's the catch? What's the temptation? What's the reward? The reward is that if you don't eat from here, you're going to get another one. Does that sound familiar? That in this world, if you spend your life according to the Sunnah and according to the Quran, and you fulfill the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the reward in the hereafter is greater. وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. So the reward of the hereafter is better for you than the reward of this world. So all you need to do in this world is show patience. If you show patience and you restrict yourself and you refrain yourself from sins and you keep yourself in control and you show patience, وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ, again the quality of a believer, you show patience, and if you show patience, then your reward is going to be absolutely amazing in the hereafter. So we got the three groups, and that's exactly the three groups of the human people as well. You got one who just say, dunya, dunya. In front of me, I'm going to, this is the kuffar now. So the kuffar and the non-believers are saying, look, this world is only one world. We've got this in front of us. We're not going to wait for another opportunity. We're going to take advantage of it. And the second group is one who are probably Muslimin and non-believers who are thinking, you know what, maybe, okay, I'll give it a little go and then come back. And then the third one is those who are the firm believers who say, you know what, there is the real life is the life of the hereafter, and that's what we're going to work for. So now these three groups, the research didn't end there. What happened now is he tracked them and followed them for the next 30, 40 years, up until 2010. So for 40 years, he followed those individuals. So those children who were seeking instant gratification, instant reward, they were the ones who were getting in trouble in school. They were the ones who were misbehaving in school. They were the ones who were ending up in jail. They were the ones who were ending up, because they just want that, whatever they want there and then. They've got no semblance of patience and waiting and a bit of holding back. And then the second group of people were slightly better, but they were the ones who were then being, basically they were being fraudsters. So they were doing things that they shouldn't be doing. So they were cheating with the taxman. They were doing certain things. So they were still doing wrong things, but they were doing some cheating along in the way. And those of the third group, the ones who showed restraint, the ones who showed patience, he saw that they were the ones who were successful. They went into college, to university. Academically, they've done really well. Obviously, from a non-Islamic point of view, they academically done really well. They've got top jobs. You know why? Because to get those top jobs, you have to show patience. You have to show resilience. And these children showed it as a quality. Do the test at home. See what your child does. Exactly. You'll find out the nature of your own child. If that child can actually show restraint, show some resilience, show some patience, but it doesn't have to be exactly this. It could be something else. Okay, beta, if you pray the whole month of Ramadan, Taraweeh with me, I will give you this reward. See if he does it or not. See what kind of outcome comes out of that. But this is something that's a research that's been happening. So what they used is, what they do is they've now implemented this within our devices. That's why we can't get off our phones. So whether even in the masjid, so whether we are praying during Taraweeh, Quran is going on, and our youngsters and adults are then checking their messages. Football scores, what's happening, is Manchester United winning or losing, or is Arsenal winning or losing? And this is happening during Salah. Allahu Akbar, we are turning towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahu Akbar, dunya behind us, and we're thinking, what's the score? Are they winning or are they losing? And straight after namaz, before the Imam can even say Allahu Akbar or Astaghfirullah, Astaghfirullah, the first thing that will come out is going to be the phone, because this is our istighfar. It will come out, what's actually happened? Have I received a message? Have I got something that's worthwhile? Halanki, he's just a young man, he's got no business enterprises. Maybe if you're doing a business, your stocks are going up and down, and you want to see if there's a big crash, even then that can wait. But we are in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are distracted by this. So it's not only in Ramadan, it's out of Ramadan. So in Ramadan, what will happen is we probably use this maybe to read Quran. Halanki, we're not supposed to use the phone for reading Quran. If you've got a mushaf available, it's only in emergencies. You don't have a mushaf. If the mushaf is available there, why are you using your phone? But we use our phone, and from a message will come, and the Quran will be put aside, and then the message will be starting reading. So the message may be something he needs to respond to, then the response starts. So that time that he was supposed to give to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that time he was supposed to spend is being misused. What are the social ills of social media? One of the biggest social ills that we've got is this moral decay and this showcasing of deeds. So what happens is, you've seen social media, I don't have to go into it deep. MashaAllah, they see a poor man, so they're going to give him some food. So then here, you hold the camera whilst I give him some food. Oh, there was a poor man and we gave him some food. Oh, I'm in the Kaaba now, I'm doing tawaf. So they're showcasing their own good deeds. Look at the example of the Sahaba. Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala, Hazrat Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Hazrat Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, when he was looking for people that he could help. So he was the Khalifa, he was like one of the top Sahaba. Now he's looking for somewhere to go. So they used to go on the outskirts of Medina. So he goes to this house, and he sees in this house there's a blind woman, but everything is clean and tidy. And then he comes the next day, everything's the same. He comes the next day, everything's the same. So he goes, something's happening over here. I'm not getting this opportunity. So he stood and watched from afar. And a gentleman comes. He comes and he's covered. You can't see who he is. You can't see who he is. He goes inside the house and he cleans the house. He does what he needs to do to serve this blind woman, to care for her, to look after her. This is community work. And then he leaves. So then he goes inside. He goes inside and he asks the woman, who was that guy that came? Who was this guy that came? And she goes, I don't know his name. I don't even know who he is. He just comes every day, and he's been coming for a long time, and he does all the daily chores for me, and he leaves, prepares the food for me, and then he goes. And you know who this person was? Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Khalifatul Mu'mineen. This is Khalifatul Mu'mineen serving the community, but not showcasing their deeds, because the deeds are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because this is where ikhlas comes in. And what's happening today? Everything is being showcased. Every little, I'm in the masjid now, Taraweeh, have a selfie with me. It's all about selfies. It's all about showcasing what I'm doing. Why are you doing that? Just not that fact, but the fact that when Allah Ta'ala has blessed you with something, then what's going to happen? The diseases, the spiritual diseases. What's one of the biggest diseases that you have? They say, look, don't put your children on social media. Don't put your own, your own women of the house. Why are you putting them? Why are you showing your wife? Why are you showing your daughter and your children? Why are you showcasing them? Oh, we're going to Umrah now. We're at the airport. And this is all being displayed, and people are watching. And what's going to be created in their hearts? Hasad, envy. Oh, they've got this. I've got this beautiful house. And they are then, even though overtly they're saying, oh, mashallah, mashallah, tabarakallah, but really in their heart there's this burning jealousy and hatred, and for this person, for the one who's showcasing his whatever Allah has blessed him with, because what you've got is not to be showcased and blessed. And then look at the story of Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam. People who were of a higher caliber than me and you were caught in the trap of jealousy. Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam's brothers, who were they? They were the sons of Yaqub alayhi salatu wassalam. Who is Yaqub alayhi salatu wassalam? He is a Nabi. Who was Yaqub alayhi salatu wassalam the son of? He was the son of Ishaq alayhi salam, who is also a Nabi. And who was Ishaq alayhi salatu wassalam the son of? Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. So Nabi, son of a Nabi, son of a Nabi. And they're his sons. And they were jealous of Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam. So if they couldn't, because father used to give him more attention, because he was beautiful and handsome, but they were also afflicted with the disease of jealousy, and they couldn't protect themselves from jealousy. Who are me and you when we go browsing through this, Snapchat and TikTok? We spend hours and hours and hours. And then in our heart, all this love for the dunya comes. Oh, I wish I had wealth like that. I wish I had wealth like this. You know the people of Qarun, in Qarun's time, the 20th para, Qarun had wealth and he was showing off with it. لا تفرح إن الله لا يحب الفرحين. He had so much wealth that he used to have a row of camels who used to carry the keys to his storage rooms where his wealth was kept. He was from amongst the Bani Israel. And what the people who used to watch him, they used to say this tamanna, that we wish we were like him. If we were given money like him, you know what, it would be so good. And then there was another group of people who said, actually, that's not the real world, is the world of the hereafter. And then فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ الْأَرْضِ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then actually pulled him into the earth. And he's still being pulled today. He's being destined into that. And then they said, oh my God, thank goodness Allah ta'ala didn't give me that wealth, because if that wealth had come to me, I would also be with that punishment. So this is what the ills of the social media and the moral decay that is within society. Then we have trolling and cyberbullying. Before, the cyberbullying was restricted to the playground or within a small environment. Now that is popular. So for example, we've got, there's a young girl, she befriends someone on Facebook, okay, on one of the devices, Facebook or whatever. This is a true story, 2 years ago in New York. She befriends someone. She thinks that she doesn't know who it is. The person is using a pseudonym. You know what a pseudonym is? So you don't use your real name, you use a different fake alias. So this person, she befriends him, they become friends. She's a 15-year-old. And they befriend and they seemingly fall in love. And then the person on the other side says, show me something. You all know what I mean by that. So she falls into that trap. She shows him. And what happens is, it turns out that pseudonym friend was one of her classmates. And what he does is he makes that photo viral within the community, within the school, and that photo is going to her parents and her family and within that whole community. What do you think is going through that child's mind? She can't face the world. She's demeaned herself. She's made a big, massive mistake. She takes her own life. She commits suicide, a 15-year-old. Why? Because there was no policing and no monitoring of what was going on. And that is another issue. We give the children our phone. Theology, yeah, it's all yours. And anything can be accessed on here. Anything. So now, obviously, it's on the phones. A few years ago, about 10 years ago, I was a head teacher of a school. And we had a complaint from a parent that this child is actually bullying this child and sending inappropriate messages on Facebook. So I called the parent in with the child, and the parent said, no, Moulana, no, nothing. He hasn't got a phone. We switched the wireless off at night time. We've got no phone, we've got nothing. So I said, what does he do? He's only got a PSP. So PSP is like a little, like a Nintendo, like a small device. This is about 10, 12 years ago, 13 years ago. I said, can you bring that in? So alhamdulillah, I've got a bit of knowledge about software and hardware. So he bought the device in. So I looked at the device, and I went to, there was it's www.proxy that gives you access to a web page. So I pressed on it, and guess what page opened up? His Facebook page. And he goes, Moulana, oh, I didn't know this. Children are very clever. They can bypass any passwords, any tricks that you put on. So what are we doing to restrict that? And you know what they can access? They can access all sorts. There are children here, so I don't want to really mention, certain things that they can access. And then they get that disease. They can't get themselves off it because they get obsessed. When they are watching it again and again and again, and maybe gaining some satisfaction. Astaghfirullah. And before, you used to have to go out to get it. You had to go somewhere. Maybe you had to go to a shop. You had to go to a video store to access it. Today, it's available right on their phones. And sometimes it's inadvertently, without actually accessing it, it's available. So they'll just click on something, and then an ad will pop up. And what's the ad going to be? Of something that we shouldn't be watching. A very, very rude picture, a very, very inappropriate. And if you click on it, they'll send you somewhere. And then you can watch that for free, because that's the purpose of it. So this is the horrors of having devices like this. And if we then let our children, and just not our children, our youngsters and our adults, it's not, this bimari, this disease is not restricted to youngsters, it's elders as well. Because once you get addicted, it's very, very difficult to move away from it. So one of the ways we can, inshallah, time is of essence, time is very valuable. So inshallah, one of the ways is, look, we need to limit, we need to have a paradigm shift. We just need to wake up and realize that it's not all honky-dory and nice giving your child and giving ourselves all the time of the world and browsing and spending our time. Rather than that, restrict it, minimize it, do something else, talk. Oh, subhanallah. So now you have a iftari, subhanallah. The whole family is there. Guess what? Everybody's on the phone. I don't know if you've experienced that. So beta on his phone, beti on the phone, father on the phone, mother on the phone, and everybody's on the phone, and they're eating food as well. You go to a da'wah, everybody's on their phone, they're checking their messages. Where is the conversation? And when they go away, they say, oh, Ya Allah, I wish I had one more moment with you, mom or dad or grandmother and grandfather. Jab waqt tha, when there was time to meet and talk with them, no one was interested. But when they went away, then everyone says, oh, I wish I had more time. Of course you had time. فَرَاغَكَ قَبْلَ شُغْلِكَ. You had your time when you could have spoken. Rather than spending the time on your device and your gadget and on your games, you should have spent that time. The son is playing or the daughter is playing games, and the father and the mother are calling them, it's time to eat. And they're saying, 2 minutes mom, 2 minutes dad, 5 minutes mom, 5 minutes dad. And then what happens next is you call them again. And then the reaction isn't 2 minutes, 5 minutes. The reaction is, oh, go away, mom or dad. And more than that, maybe some swear words in there as well. Just leave me alone. Just leave me alone, I'm playing a game. This is more important to me than the whole dunya and the akhirah. Why? Because they're obsessed and addicted to it. This is all part of the system that they've introduced, and we're just falling into it, and all of our life and all of our time is going into this. Steve Jobs, you know him? The founder of the iPhone, Apple. He never allowed his children to have an iPhone. Did you know that? It's common knowledge. He used to ban the iPhone. Khud jisne usne banaya, the person who founded the Apple iPhone do not allow. And you know what phone he had? He used to have those brick phones. You know the Nokia phones that you have that you can't have, it's just, you can't have no social media, you can't have nothing else. He used to have that phone. Because he knew that the value of time, and he knew that if I let my children go in that, they're not going to read, they're not going to educate themselves. So that's why you have at exam time, there are children who are pretending to be revising, but they're not revising, they're actually playing on their phone. And you've got no way of policing that and checking that. So this is all a part of the shaitan's ploy, and the ploy of ourselves, of how we are so obsessed with all of these things that we don't even know what's happening. And when our hearts have become so immune to what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in Gaza, that people are questioning. You know what people are saying now? We've done everything. Or you know what, we go to a protest. You know, Moulana, why are you talking about Palestine and Gaza for? Why? Because we go to protests, or we make dua. We make dua. Oh, we make dua. Dua is very important. Of course, we make dua. Do you make dua like if your child was falling into the fire? Is that how you make dua? Are you making dua like if your child that was coming under the bombs? Is it like that? No, this is the state of the ummah is like that. They think they're doing enough for Palestine and Gaza. Halanki, the whole ummah, 1.8 billion are saying the same thing. 1.8 billion people said the same thing, we're doing enough. Is it enough? They're being bombed right now. They're being killed right now. They're being murdered and slaughtered right now. And we are all quiet and we think we're doing enough. And anyone who speaks up is actually told to shut up, suppressed. Why are you talking about Gaza and Palestine for? This is the state of the ummah. Because we are satisfied with what we've got. So this is what needs to change. We need to change we have to have a paradigm shift, open our eyes, look at the social media, and what stories are we reading, if we are even reading? The ones that are given by the BBC and the Sky News. They are all made, the media dominance is all there, so that our heart and our affiliation with them is completely there. You can't mention certain words, you can't say certain things, all to restrict the Muslim, and the Muslim is falling into that trap, even though they've got 5 million armies, 5 million individuals who can join an army, but no one's ready to move. Look at Pakistan, look at Bangladesh. Bangladesh can remove Hasina, but they can't do anything for Palestine. Pakistan are involved in their own turmoil. They've got an army. Egypt's got an army of over 1 million. This is 5-6 million armies that can help and support, but no, the Awam is, and it's not the army, it's obviously the people who are the rulers. Now the rulers are there, but the rulers who put them in power? We did. We are the ones who put them in power, and we are so busy and self-absorbed with ourselves that we don't have time for change. Even in this country like England, the Tories were running for power for 14 years. Once they saw the detrimental effect of it, they changed it. The people spoke, made the change. Unless we don't change ourselves, nothing's going to change. We need to change ourselves. The day we start with ourselves, first and foremost is me. Stop looking at the other person. The day I change, that's the day that the change will begin. And if every individual does the same, then the change will begin. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to understand, to act upon what has been said. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Jazakallah Moulana for his beautiful words and time. Unfortunately, he has to go back to the masjid, so he will be leaving before iftar, inshallah. Jazakumullah.